Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. I'm so happy that you can join us. I appreciate every view that I get, and I really appreciate even a like, a comment, a subscription to my channel. I'm not here to make money. I am here to do this for my own mental health, and you could look at my other videos and see, why that potentially is. So, I thought what we do is take a look at some of the news coming out of The View, and I didn't actually use, let's say, a screenshot of the story I'm going to talk about, but there's been lots of controversy around, always around The View and a few things, but I thought that one thing that was kind of interesting is that the recent findings of Biden having documents not only at his previous vice president, I guess, office or headquarters, if you would call it, and also now his home, has led to some controversy with how it's being discussed at the show and by its panelists. Now, I will say this. I actually find Alyssa, who's recently joined this season, actually to be very likable and very fair in her feedback. And I find Anna Navarro usually to be very likable as well and fair in her feedback as well. I thought that in this particular discussion, which aired on Friday of The View, which actually looking at my calendar just to make sure that I get the date right here, was Friday the 13th. Is that correct? Wow, was it really Friday the 13th? Cool. So Friday the 13th, they were discussing the topic that, documents were found with Biden. And Joy Behar admitted that, hey, this is not a good look for Biden. And I think also Alyssa agreed with that and Sarah Haynes. I think that one of the things that individuals are having controversy around, and I haven't personally seen this mentioned on the show, but there was a discussion around controversy of like, hey, who planted this there? And a lot of people had problems with that because, okay, the first thing you jump to is that there's controversy rather than talking about maybe why Biden had these documents. And I will admit that there's also a discussion around Sunny Hostin and potential, kind of feeling uncomfortable to say anything negative towards Biden, even though, he did have these documents with him. Now, usually I don't talk about politics and I try to, you know, not discuss it because I have opinions just like everyone else around it. I'll just throw it out there. Yeah, I'm a registered Democrat and would label myself as someone who's liberal, progressive, but hey, even here, I think that I can recognize something's wrong here in regards to what Biden did. And I really don't like that there's not, fair treatment around this because if any of us took anything that was kind of classified from our job, we would be in trouble. Of course, yes, there would be investigation and things like that need to be happening, but I kind of feel like if you were kind of a lower level employee, they probably wouldn't even go with the investigation. They'll be like, hey, there's liability to the company. We're going to fire you. So I do think that there's kind of, imbalance here. But is it just because it's Biden? I think in some areas, you look at the Democrat side, that they're willing just to throw it, but I also think that it's also on the Republican side that they're just willing to throw everything away for Donald Trump. I think, is this good news for Donald Trump? Yeah, it's definitely good news for Donald Trump. But to be honest, if you're someone who just takes a step back, even though I'm a registered Democrat, I look back at it and I look at kind of from both lenses and I see like the hypocrisy from both the Republican and Democrat sides because I saw like individuals going on the news and saying on the Republican side like this is terrible. How could he do this? And meanwhile, the same people who were defending Trump when he did this. And then you also have people who are defending Biden who before were saying like, how dare Trump do this, and you should never violate protocol. And also, it doesn't look good on Biden as well when he was saying like, "Hey, I would never do this," and criticizing. He was like, "This is something you always know not to do," and then he has documents. Now, you know, a lot of people were saying that with Sunny Hostin that she's connected to, you know, Biden and that because they go to the White House, and she feels not inclined to actually say anything because of that relationship there. And a lot of people have indicated that also she's changed a lot. And I have to admit, yeah, I do see some things, and you know, she had worked hard for where she has gotten. And, she said she didn't come for money and things like that. And she's able to support her child to be able to do that. And, you know, I think that the number one thing here is in regard to Sunny. A lot of people say that she has a snootiness to her now. And I think that, she deserves to be able to, be proud of how much she's accomplished in that. And nobody should take that away from her. But I do notice in some of the conversations where she will look down on somebody in regards to maybe things that they've gone. I think that sometimes when you are successful, you tend to forget the journey, and also tend to forget that just because you made it and you were able to push through doesn't mean that's a journey for everyone or everyone can do it. Unfortunately, if everyone was promoted to CEO, there would be no employees. So I always keep that in mind in regards to any discussion I have in regards to that. I am not perfect, by the way. I'm not saying that. But the controversy around here in the discussion of The View is that they had, discussed this topic, and some of the panelists, specifically, I guess, around Ana Navarro and Sunny, show a bias when discussing this with Biden. Now, a lot of people are going to say, hey, there's completely different things here. You have to look at it differently. Like, they went after Trump and he denied he had the documents, and they had to force themselves to go in there. Okay, sure. But if I'm going to be fair, and I'm, like I said, I'm just going to say, I'm a Democrat, progressive, whatever, liberal. A lot of people are going, terrible. That's okay. I think that number one thing we have to do, let's separate ourselves from the politics, because a lot of these people who represent us have money, do not care. I live in New York State, which is kind of changing a little bit in the tide, I have to be honest. I think you see a shift in the state that I feel, and I understand it, because a lot of people are like, we're paying high taxes. There's, an exodus of people leaving the state. And just recently, our politicians over here gave themselves a raise, a $30,000 raise because of inflation. But meanwhile, Americans in the state and New Yorkers throughout the state, not, New York City alone, upstate as well, is feeling it. And I'm watching and going, okay, you're going to give yourself a raise. And I saw one person say, this is the hardest decision I've ever made. Well, not the decisions about healthcare, not the decisions that impact people's lives every day. No, the decision to give yourself a raise was the hardest decision. But the ones where you say no to actually helping people or making a difference because it costs money, that's the ones that you felt were easier. So I always feel like anytime it's like giving something to benefit the majority of people, we are brainwashed to think that it's bad, and politicians are just innately go towards no, because who's going to pay for this? Well, no one's ever had a problem with that before. But anyways, back to the topic at hand, which is, with Biden, a lot of people are saying, hey, this is different. Well, okay, let's call out, and being fair, let's call it a huge difference here. The archive, or whoever protects the documents, reached out to Trump within a year to get the documents. Biden had this for 8 years. That's a long time. Never to follow up. How could this happen? And how could he hold on to something for 8 years? Like, you put something in your garage, especially if you're leaving the office. I would go through that with a fine-tooth comb, like saying, hey, I don't want to take anything that's actually, from the company. Now, yes, we probably all have taken something from the company, inadvertently or not. I'll say something, I meant something. When I worked at KB Toys, I had box cutters in my pocket because we used these little tiny, like, cheap-ass box cutters. And sometimes it'd be in my pocket at home, and I would sometimes bring them back, and sometimes I was too lazy and I would just grab a new one at work. But they weren't classified documents. And if I did bring something, accidentally, I would definitely immediately take care of that. So, yeah, I think there's things you can call it on both sides. I feel like they kind of glossed over, like 8 years of these documents. I think that I could understand people being upset with, maybe the show not catching them on that and making them rediscuss this. So we will see. I mean, this conversation is ever evolving. I hope that they do um, self-correct and realize, like, you know what? If this were Donald Trump, and it was, who did this, I would be hard on him. And I mean, this current sitting president, and to have that after he just kind of discussed it, of course, yes, on both sides, we need more information, right? So, obviously, they're not going to tell us what these documents discuss, but, what level of information this was. Obviously, it was classified. They talked about the process of between Trump and Biden about declassifying of documents. Were these documents really declassified or not? If they reported it, from the Biden side, would it have been reporting declassified documents? I think not. So they probably were classified. So, like I said before, I don't like discussing politics. I did. Probably going to put me in the hot seat, but I'm trying to be fair here. I think if we all take a step back, not worshiping these politicians like idols and recognizing that, there's probably lots of likelihood of corruption on both sides. It probably makes us a little easier. Since we're discussing The View, I thought for my second story I would discuss something that is annoying me between lots of the talk shows. And I was so happened to be watching Dr. Phil, and I noticed something, also a segment on The View. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is freaking annoying. And it has to do with the app that they keep on advertising. It's Best Fiends, and I'm not getting paid for anything here. Maybe if I was, I would be talking about it a little more positively, but I'm not. So let's dive in and be honest. Is the game bad? I haven't played it. Have I had an interest to play it? No, not at all. And I'll tell you why. Because the segments that have appeared on Dr. Phil and The View are obvious cash grabs, that they're being paid by these apps. This app must be making tons of money, because if you have a segment on Dr. Phil and The View talking about this app, it's okay. But I have to say, the segments themselves are cringeworthy. I found myself rolling my eyes. I think it was an episode about, you know, cultural appropriation on Dr. Phil. And then he switched over to, let's talk about, in our next segment, two housewives who were brought together, their friendship across boundary and distance because of an app. And then just one girl's talking about, like, Best Fiends, and it's a game, and we brought together, and it just makes me feel good, and it's just so exciting, and I have these goals that I set up just like in my everyday life. And as I'm hearing her talk, and like, I was like, this is not really about mental health. I thought we talked about, like, kind of addiction. Sure, a game could help you in certain ways, but this was a clear kind of discussion about selling the app. And did these women really know each other? I kind of doubted it. That they really knew each other. Um, they both felt like actors, and I probably, even if they did know each other, imagine the creators of the app or the advertisers were like, here's your script, stick to it. Oh, I love the app. Oh my gosh. And whenever I'm stressed, I go to this app and I have a goal to complete, even though the dishes are not washed. I just feel great about it. Or, for example, even though, let's say I'm an executive at my company, and I'm feeling stressed and I need to meet the deadlines, I know that at least I made one goal and I earned stars and sent it to my friends. And it was just really annoying. So then I watched The View, and I see Sarah Haynes talking about this app and is like navigating it, going, oh my gosh, this is my first time playing this. This is so fun. Oh my god, I just did something. Oh my god, there were stars. What is this? And I was like, are you kidding me? This is really upsetting. So I know that the intent of this was to promote Best Fiends. And look, I guess I'm promoting it because it's got me talking, but I have no intention to actually download it at all. It just made me pissed off that there was a segment of this, and it was just obviously like kind of annoying, kind of trying to sell a product that was very obvious. These women didn't know each other. Sarah Haynes, you have no interest in playing this game. She was probably the only co-host, to be honest, that was willing to do it. They're like, Whoopi was like, I'm not going to do that. Are you crazy? And Joy was like, I don't even know how to use this. I hardly know how to use my phone for phone calls. And Navarre was like, Psh, are you kidding me? Sarah Haynes was like, this, I don't really. And they were like, well, we don't want you anyways. And then Sunny was like, Psh, I'm not going to do that. She's probably going to be, yeah, she'd be looking at the whole time going, yeah, this game's great. When's the commercial? I don't know. Which is funny. So ridiculous. So, anyways, that's my discussion with The View. If you want me to talk more about The View and the topics they talk about, and some calling out ridiculous crap like this app thing, or calling out when they are wrong and not fair in the show. I mean, Fox News and all these other kind of news broadcasts do have a bias to them. I mean, any news segment, even in the past, had an angle where they would omit someone's side or only tell a portion of the story. So do your investigation, look at things on your own, and at the end of the day, just try to be fair. I've realized as I got older, there's always two sides to a story. I watch all these TikTok things about like this person saying, my employer treated me unfairly, or here's my boss firing me, or here me getting corrective action, or, here's this employee treating me badly. And I always think, what's the other side of the story? And then let me make a judgment, because you only have the platform right now. So it's not fair to them because you're not giving them an equal chance to have a discussion or share the other side of the story. Now, if you had a whole video and I could see it from start to finish when you first engaged with them and walked in the store, sure. But I did watch one video with this woman that goes in the store and complains about Target, and from the get-go, I was just like, and she kept on posting video after video and commenting, like she's asking for like a cork for like wine. I'm sorry, going on a tangent here. And automatically she's like walking, she was like, even the manager didn't know where this is. I find that really disturbing and really upsetting that the manager didn't know where this was. And the girl was like, well, outside vendors actually fill and stock this. And she was like, still, even if the manager, I'm going to call corporate and tell them that he doesn't know where anything it is. I just find that really unhelpful, especially me, a customer trying to find things. And I have, limited time. And I was like, I'm not sure what your intention of all these complaining videos were, but you completely lost me. Anyways, sorry. Just went on a tangent there. But anyways, if you like the videos, hit the like button. Please hit the like button. It makes me happy. Or if you want to see me sad, you can hit that too. Subscribe. Leave a comment. Hit the notification bell to get notification of other videos. And if you like what you're seeing, as always, like I said, do all three of those. So until next time, stay safe. Watch The View. Let me know your thoughts. And thank you. Bye.